would you like to make your own French ribbon or add a corded edge like fishing line or wire along your fabric? And that is where the cording foot comes in, and it has a little tiny hole on the front. I'm going to show you how it works with wire. We are going to set this serger up for a rolled hem, so I've already gone ahead and removed the left needle and needle thread. This wire happens to be a 28 gauge wire. It's just a nice bendable weight, not too thick, not too wimpy. And what I'll do is actually put it into the foot before I put the foot on the machine. So first thing you're going to do is just push it down the hole. It does have it where you could put it on and just swoop it in. And then underneath, okay, so next you put it in this little kind of fork area and underneath the foot. So it just pulls through, and underneath there's a little groove that it's going to sit in. We'll take our regular foot off, slide the cording foot with the cord on. If you're doing fishing line, boy, that gives it such a neat finish. You probably are going to be using like a 25-pound test fishing line for those types of projects. And then usually sew on the bias, give it a really strong pull, and it just makes that edge. If you've ever seen those lettuce leaf edges that just go on forever, that's what's on the edge of them is fishing line. So we're going to do our rolled hem. We're pulling our stitch finger forward. We're tightening up our lower looper. Our stitch length is a little bit shorter, not all the way to 1, but in that range there. And we'll just go ahead. First couple of stitches, just make sure that your cord will get not near your knife, but where the needle will encase it here. Once you're stitching, just keep the wire flowing from whatever spool or container it's coming out of and go right on down the edge. This is a great way to make your own, like I mentioned, French ribbon. If you wanted to make some decorative bows for a holiday, but you just can't find the right ones, just buy a yard of some fancy fabric, shiny or shimmery, cut strips, and then add wire along the edge. It's something that can be used each year. You can kind of fold them up, and then when the next year comes along, you can bring them out, iron them, and re-tie them into position. So how about for fun? This is what it's going to look like where it's all nice and bendable here. Is I'm going to just even go back down the other side. So without even cutting my wire, do both sides. And back at the beginning, another thing to do is if you wanted to is kind of crimp this wire so it doesn't pull its way through. Usually it doesn't, but it just depends on how you guide it. I have had it pull out on me. So I can just do a little bit longer here. The foot's holding the wire, so I really don't have to worry about it getting anywhere near my needle or my knife. If it starts to gather up, just give it a little pull. If you wanted this to be a little bit more solid stitching, you could shorten the stitch length. You could use decorative threads, anything to your liking. Try out different ways. You are going to want to have some wire cutters close by. This is pretty delicate wire, where usually sometimes what I'll do is just roll it in my fingers a few times and it will break off. Sometimes it does. Maybe. Okay, well, we'll just go ahead and show you what it's going to look like. See how wonderful this is going to hold as a pretty bow and all tied up on whatever occasion it's meant to be for.